Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay and choo-choo!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy, yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us all aboard the murder train.
Hell yeah.
Pulling away from the station, and oh boy, do we have a crazy one today. Insane. We're going across the pond here to check out some British murder, and it really feels American. That's the thing that struck me so much, is how much of a panhandle murder this is. It's wild. I'm like, wow, you have that too. It made me almost feel better about our country. So it's good. Before we get to that, very quickly, we need to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
November the 28th. Tickets for the 2023 live show tour are coming out. They are going to be on sale that day. Very quickly, where we'll be: February 10th, Cleveland; February 11th, St. Louis; March 23rd, 24th, Seattle; March 25th, Portland, Oregon, not Maine; May 5th, Detroit; May 6th, Pittsburgh; July 15th, San Diego; July 28th, Salt Lake City; the 29th, Denver; August 11th, Minneapolis; August 12th, Chicago; September 8th, Atlanta; September 9th, Charlotte; October 6th, Philadelphia; October 7th, Washington, D.C. Dates still to come for Phoenix, Milwaukee, Boston, New York. So those are coming. Hopefully they'll be up by the 28th when everything's for sale, because that would really help a lot. So can't wait. Do that. Also, Head over to patreon.com/crime and sports. Get all your bonus material. Anybody $5 or above, you get everything, all the bonus episodes, the whole back catalog of bonus stuff. This week, what you're going to get for crime and sports, which you'll have access to, you're going to get all the bad stuff that Ben Roethlisberger allegedly did.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. Never mind football. Let's talk about these terrible accusations that have been kind of hanging over his head like a cloud for the last 20 years. And then also for small town murder, it's the prisoner dating game, everybody. It's back. Oh, we're excited for this. Obviously, I line up 4 bachelors and 4 bachelorettes for Jimmie here. The only thing they all have in common is they are currently incarcerated, and they have their own dating profiles.
Yeah.
Jimmie's going to pick one based on just what they say in the profiles, and then he's going to get to find out who they are and, more importantly, what they did to end up where they are. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's never a good choice. So much fun. The Violent Felon Prisoner Dating Game.
Yes.
It's patreon.com/crime and sports. That said, I think it's time, Jimmie.
Yeah.
Sit back. Let's clear the lungs, I think, a little bit here, everybody. I don't care where you are. If you're in your kitchen, scream, scare the shit out of your dog. If you're at the gym, make everybody run for the hills. That's good exercise for them. You're doing them a favor as they sprint from you. They need that exercise. They need the cardio. And let's shout, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmie. Let's go on a trip.
All right.
It's a far trip, and I've never seen a fucking word like this before.
Oh.
We're going to the United Kingdom, but not England. We're going to Wales, okay?
That's its own country, huh?
Yes, the UK is made of Scotland, England, Wales. Those are the 3 countries that make up the United Kingdom.
Ireland's not part of it?
Ireland is their own country, I believe,
Got it.
aren't they? So, yeah.
I don't know.
This is Llanfair is the name of the town, sort of. Llanfair PG, they call it also.
Oh.
Llanfair space capital P, capital G. Now, the actual name of this town is Llanfair. I'm going to spell it for you. LLANFAIR PWLLGWYNGYLL. That's the full name. Yeah, Llanfair Pwelgwinningle. That's basically what we're talking about here. There's a full name, by the way.
Yeah.
LLANFAIR PWLLGY or GWYNGYLLANTYSILIOGOGOGOCH.
They got 4 L's.
Sounds like you put a toddler in front of a typewriter and they just banged on the keys and that's what came out. And they were like,
They
we'll name our
got
town
4
that.
L's.
They got 4
L's
L's
in a row.
It's the longest town name in Europe, or it was, as somebody might have overtaken them now here. And it translates in English, because Welsh, by the way, is its own language.
Is it?
Totally. Oh, absolutely. It translates to St. Mary's Church in the hollow of White Hazel near a rapid whirlpool and the Church of St. Tisilo near the Red Cave.
Make sure we mention the cave in the whirlpool.
That's too much. You have to pick what you want your main thing to be, and that's what you are. You can't just say everything in the town. And a nice street with houses and a good restaurant that has good pizza down on the left. No, you can't make that your whole name.
We're naming the town. What do we name it? I don't give a shit what you name it, as long as you mention the cave and the whirlpool.
Man. It's on the island of Anglesey, which is off the northwest coast of Wales. And that's where this town is, all the way over there. And that's how that works. There's a bridge that goes to the Britannia Bridge that goes across the Strait of Bangor and ends up into regular England over there. Huh. The postal code is LL61, in case you're sending something there.
Letters, huh?
It's about 3 hours and 15 minutes from South Yorkshire, which is our last British episode, which was 168, and it was April 2020. So it's been a while here. Population here is 2,907. The median household income is about £33,000 per year, which is about $39,000 and change.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot. Houses seem to be in about the 400, like a 4-bedroom, a big house is about 400 to 600,000 pounds. In the 200,000 range with less bedrooms. So pretty much kind of like America, it seems like.
To own things, it costs a lot there.
Yeah, it definitely does. History of this town, there's so much fucking history. It goes back centuries. There are hundreds of thousands of years. They're talking about there's been human activity and settlement in the area of the village since the Neolithic era, which is 4,000 to 2,000 BC.
Wow.
So for history, it's just a couple of brief things. It was briefly invaded and captured by the Romans at one point, and then it was abandoned, and it's been... A lot of stuff has gone on here.
The cave and the whirlpool didn't keep the Romans?
Apparently they didn't. The cave, the whirlpool, the church by the, what the hell else? The church by the rapid roaring meadows and the brooks. Whirlpool. I don't know what the fuck was there. They speak, obviously, Welsh is actually spoken there. 57% of people in 2011 still spoke Welsh in this area. Oh. So that's interesting. It's way different than English. I found one review of this town, okay? And it's 4 stars, 4 out of 5. During my stay of 3 months in Wales, I used to go through the village with the longest name in the world. And he spells it out, often abbreviated. It's in North Wales on the island of Anglesey. The town is a bit in the middle of nowhere and has good communication, but many tourists just go to say they've been. The men on the train did not stop to ask for a ticket to Llanfair. Must say the full name. Once in the village, there is little to see. We went to the town square to take a picture and sign and seal the passport. There was a music festival that made the wait more enjoyable before getting back on the train. So he says...
He wanted the stamp.
That's pretty much it. Advise checking twice the train itineraries because in Wales there are several to Llanfair, and we're waiting at the station for about 2 hours during the confusion.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So things to do here, not much. The Anglesey Sea Zoo, which is the best of British marine life at Anglesey's leading all-weather family attraction. It's just got like octopus and lobsters and seahorses and eels and jellyfish. That's what they're saying. So
there's an aquarium.
It's almost like a kid's aquarium. Mm-hmm. I have a couple reviews of that though, since there wasn't a lot of information on it. Here's one they loved it, 5 stars from a month ago. Great to look around. Me and the kids enjoyed it. It was a bit cold inside as the doors were open. There's quite a bit to look at. We especially enjoyed the underwater camera one was controlling. It was someone waving. It was good fun. The staff are friendly. Sounds very British.
Yeah, it does.
It's good fun. We also had food in the cafe, which was very nice. Well, that's good that you had food in the cafe as opposed to we smoked crack in the cafe. Would have been different. The next review is 1 star. Hated the fucking place. Yeah. From 2 months ago. This is very British. The Sea Zoo is grim. That's the first sentence. It's grim, mate. We paid £25 for 3 of us. It was small and had a lack of fish.
Yeah,
that's a great way to put it.
That, yeah.
The facilities were also grim. They smelt bad and were unclean. I think it's to match the theme of an abandoned ship. It took 5 minutes to walk through the boring corridors of depressed fish. Do fish have like... Do fish
Emotions?
Have like anything?
Yeah.
Do they have serotonin that gets released? Do they get happy? Those fish look thrilled.
They said the toilet stunk so that to match the sunken abandoned ship.
Apparently here. Depressed fish. It was a snide experience. Okay, the fish were snide.
Well done, mate.
This is great.
I'm really impressed with the poetic shit they got going on.
The fish all looked bored, and so did I. Okay. The best part was leaving never to return. I had a better time 4 months ago when I stubbed my toes taking the bins out and shattered my nail. Would not go again, for it was so utterly tripe. Tripe.
Oh,
wow. Now that we've set the tone of where we are, let's talk about a murder, shall we?
Great. Let's do it.
Let's do this. To do this, we're going to have to talk about a young man here. Mm-hmm. He's 17 years old.
Okay.
Name is Matthew Hardman. Hardman. One word, not Hardman. Matthew 1T, which is excessively confusing when you're looking this guy up on the internet. Let me tell you something. Very confusing. So he's born and raised in Almwich. There's no vowels except for the A. AMLWCH.
AMW. Amwich.
Amlwich. Amlwich.
Say that again.
AMLWCH. There needs to be at least one or two vowels in there for that to work. But it's Welsh.
The language.
It's Welsh. No, they didn't. This is Welsh. They don't even want to fucking speak English there. Are you kidding?
I saw us all out of there, so they deleted the vowels.
I saw Kitchen Nightmares where Gordon Ramsay was in Wales. It was one of the British ones, and the two people, it was a husband and wife, and all they did was fight and argue. And the guy, her name was Karen, and he would just go, "Ka!" That's how he would yell for her. Like they would speak sort of half English and half Welsh. It was crazy.
They
it was
skip
awesome.
the vowels when they talk.
Yeah. Car. That's how he'd scream from across the restaurant.
And that's
Gordon
Karen.
would go, Jesus Christ, calm down. Don't bellow for her. He'd go crazy. Either way here, that's where he's from. He's from this area, obviously. Yeah. That's why we're here. They moved to this particular town, to Llanfair, in 1998 when he was 13 years old.
Okay.
So that's where we put him here. His mother, Julia, is a nurse, and his parents are divorced. That's why he moved there. Just moved up a little bit. His mother, Julia, is a nurse. She has a guy that she lives with named Alan, and he's a former Ministry of Defense fireman.
Jesus.
Yeah, that sounds cool. She got a divorce from the father and found herself some like cool fireman.
Yeah, in the Ministry of Defense.
Have you met Alan? And he's just like this strapping guy.
He doesn't just put out fires. He puts out fires from like fucking Stinger missiles.
Fires from like nuclear things and oil burning and shit. Who knows what that does over there? But yeah, I just picture him standing there, and the father comes to pick the kid up, and the fireman's just standing there. All right. And it's just, all right. Back and forth. Yeah. So they live in a bungalow, the three of them. Now, that same year, he's kind of upset, Matthew, about the divorce and the fact that now he lives with some other guy and all this type of shit. That same year, his father has a massive asthma attack and dies.
Oh, no.
That's a really massive asthma attack to die from it. So his father dies, so he's 13 years old, and, his life just kind of got turned upside down, as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air once told us.
This is where royalty's from.
That's what happens. So he's a little screwed up at this point, obviously, as you can imagine, because he had remained close to his father and still loved his father. His father lived nearby and everything like that. So he's upset about that, but it's all outside viewing people, anybody who's talking to him, hanging out with him. He's known as just kind of a normal person. One of his teachers calls him a, quote, remarkably normal teenager.
Yeah.
Which is good, I guess. He's good at art. He's really good at art. And during his time in high school, he wins, he wins a place at a college in Bangor that's an art college. So he won a spot there, basically, with his art.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has to pay for it or what that does, but he got into an art school, which is, I know, hard to do. So he leaves high school at 16 and goes on to study art and design at Menai College. So he's that's that new semester in the spring this year. He's or the fall this year. He starts this. That's what he's doing. That's what he's up to. He gets into it. Someone who goes to school with him said he's a quiet lad who keeps to himself.
Yeah, well.
There you go. One person said he's not very sociable and stayed in most of the time. He wasn't a party kind of guy. One of his teachers said that he was a, quote, well-behaved boy with a good sense of humor. He has dyslexia, though, which he's lucky he's good at art then, so that's something that you don't have to deal with that with, but said that he was very into learning. He liked schoolwork, and all of his teachers liked him. He was pleasant. He was agreeable, and he tried. They said he would ask questions and that sort of thing, but his writing and his spelling were always bad because of his dyslexia, so he never could get that.
It's so tough. Yeah.
That's difficult. One teacher said he's always well behaved, and there's never any discipline problems with him at all. Never. Okay. So from the ages of 13 to 16, Dad's dead, and he figures it out, though. I mean, he's trying to work on his art. He might not be the most sociable, whatever. He might not be the captain of the football team. either kind of football. But either way, he's fine. He's a nice kid. He's working
well-adjusted.
Surprisingly,
yeah.
Exactly. He handles adversity well. Mm-hmm. That's a good sign of a successful person in the future. Sure. He even at 13 gets a paper route. Okay. So he's going around dropping.
Yeah.
He's the paper boy for the whole neighborhood, big area there of Llanfair. And that's for 3 years, 13 to 16. He's into the same shit his friends are into and as all the other kids. He likes computer games. This is like, early 2001. He likes computer games. He likes, watches TV, he likes music, and is still into his art, hangs out, reads magazines, drinks with his buddies and all that kind of shit.
So wild.
But in 2001, over the course of this year and toward the end of 2000, he starts getting a couple of real weird hobbies and a couple of real weird things that he's into.
What's he doing?
Mainly vampires.
Yeah?
Not like Twilight. We're talking like he's like into vampires and like reading books about like, legends of old vampires and like all this weird vampirical type shit.
These people that do that understand that it's fucking myths, right? They do, right?
Well, I think most do. I think when adults do that, they probably do. They're just the type of people that have a lot of Halloween decorations, I feel like, and they're just into the macabre, and that's what they do. That's fine.
Silly. Yeah.
Yeah. But
they realize that
no sillier than people that are into NASCAR or whatever. I mean, people have their interests that are
but
don't
these
further
people
anything for them.
That are into it, they realize there's never been a vampire in the history of the world, right?
I'm not sure they do, Jimmy. I think they might not. Honestly, I think they don't realize it. I think they're like, they're out there. I'm telling you. I'm just saying. Maybe not now, but back in the day, they would swoop from the sky and take a peasant's sheep. That's all I'm saying. They just scoop it up, suck its blood. You know how it goes, man.
It's fucking ridiculous.
But for a 16-year-old kid,
yeah,
it's a silly thing. But a lot of kids get into shit like that. He's kind of
fantasy and the idea of it is certainly there's a romance to it, but it's also like, dude, come on, it's never
also
happened,
stupid. Yeah. 2001, it's like vampires and pop culture then, because this is pre-Twilight. Everything changed with Twilight as far as their perception of pop culture.
Buffy at this point.
You got Buffy, you got Interview with the Vampire, which was big. So vampires are cool and they're fucking handsome and they're movie they're movie stars. They're super sexy and they have abs and shit. Or what? Once Bitten. Is that your?
That's a fucking good one.
With Jim Carrey, we've talked about Once Bitten. We both love Once Bitten.
Oh God, so good.
Yeah, that's amazing. So there's that. That's
it.
That's it. Vampire in Brooklyn, maybe with Eddie Murphy. I don't know what else there really is at that.
What's
point.
that one where there was a Gotta Wear Shades is in the fucking I forget what it is. God damn it. Secret to, no, what is it?
Not Secret to My Success. No. Definitely not.
No, it's another vampire movie where the guy's in the grocery store drinking fucking pig's blood.
Aisle. Another one of those like teen ones.
Yeah. It's just dumb. Stupidity.
Yeah, like Once Bitten type style there.
Very similar like that.
So he just kind of gets into the occult, and then he has like a special interest in vampires, which leads to a real vampire obsession, like a real weird obsession with vampires. So much so that in September of 2001, he's hanging out with a 16-year-old German exchange student, a girl.
Yeah. Oh.
So, hey, you know what? You're doing well here.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with the exchange student. Everything's going well. They're in her bedroom, for Christ's sake.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he's doing great. Yeah, he's not just sitting out in the front yard with her. They're hanging out in her bedroom. So,
yeah, obviously. European Vacation. Those girls show their tits.
Oh, they're going to show their tits, say some word you don't understand, and then expect you to grab them and fondle them for a while.
Do amazing things with them.
Yeah, that's all. They just open up their shirts and smile. I saw that. Even if you're a redheaded, really goofy-looking kid.
Dorky kid, yeah.
Who used to be Anthony Michael Hall, but now isn't anymore. Even if you're that.
When I was a kid, I thought tits probably tasted amazing. And then I grew up and I was like,
you found out, yes, they do.
Skin.
No, they do. You found out these are great.
Then I found out they taste like Fixie Sticks.
It's everything I've always wanted. It's wonderful.
I just assumed they were like, I don't know, there was like sugar candy on them or something.
That's part of like the routine when they leave the house in the morning.
Like,
sprinkle some like cinnamon on their nipples just in case they encounter you later.
Tastes like cotton candy or something. I was like, I can't wait to know what that is. And I was like, tastes like sweat.
But not, though. Also just wonderful.
Yeah, but mostly sweat.
No. Don't disparage the tit, Jimmy. There's nothing wrong. I don't care if it's sweaty.
Kind of a letdown.
Well, if you're expecting fucking...
Yeah, it's my fault. It's not
Tutti Frutti. Yeah, it's going to be a letdown. But if you're, if you're trying to taste the rainbow, and you're just tasting
a juicy fruit in these. This is weird.
Yeah, you're just tasting kind of titty. It's different. Yeah. But to me, their tits are so spectacular when you're a teenager that whatever they taste like then becomes that thing that's wonderfully wonderful. That replaces
like salty cotton candy.
That replaces pink Starburst as the best flavor anything you could get. Just replaces it. So
I'm sure women felt that way about dicks too, though.
I'm sure. Maybe not though. They're probably
doesn't
like,
taste
ew.
that bad. And then they're like, it's worse than I thought.
Oh God, Jesus.
Way worse than I thought.
The balls have to be right there. That's gross. Nobody wants to look at those. So he's hanging out with this 16-year-old German exchange student here. So boom, it's all good, right?
Hell yeah.
He thought that, oh boy. He thought that she was one of a local community of vampires where she is, where they are.
Like a secret society?
Yeah, he wants in. He wants in. He's like, you're a fucking one of these vampires that I want to be a part of. I'm like, what's up? Like, give me some literature here. Get me in the club. You know what I mean?
Swear me in.
So while in her bedroom, he's saying this, and she's like, nah, whatever German people say. I don't know.
9.
We don't have a lot of German listeners, so just nine over and over. She tried to heil him to make him stop. He wouldn't listen to that. I don't know. That's all we know about Germany.
That's all I know. Sorry,
that's
Germany.
it.
You did this to
Sorry.
yourself.
We have like very few German listeners, so you know what? Don't care. It's fine. I feel like the people listening in Germany are probably expats anyway, so probably not full-on German people.
Service members.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, we have a lot of service members. So either way, he said, Jesus Christ, he is so convinced of this, and she's saying, 9.
Yeah.
He pushes his neck against her mouth. Going, bite me. Yeah, fucking bite me.
Turn me, goddammit.
Pleaded with her. Please bite me. He's like holding her head, not in his crotch, up against his neck to bite him. So he could become a vampire. He's like, fucking vampire me. Let's do this. Come on. She thought he was kidding at first. Yeah. She thought he was funny. She's like, this is hilarious. You know what I mean? But then he's freaking out. Like, fucking bite me. And so she started screaming when he pushed her on the bed and repeatedly said, bite me, you're going to bite me. And not meaning it in a, bite dirty me way. Type of way. Like he was like, fucking bite me. So this is, and before this happened, he was telling her that Llanfair PG is a perfect location for vampires.
Yeah.
He said many of the residents are elderly, so if they died and got their blood sucked out, nobody would even notice.
Yeah, dog, but the thing is
super easy. It's like Cocoon Town.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be like virgins and pure blood, though?
No, I think he's just thinking any blood. I think vampires are different in Great Britain, probably.
Maybe so.
They're more polite. They're not. We're picky over here. You know what I mean? It's got to be a virgin. They got to be this, that, all this pure shit. They're like, it's all right. It's all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're teaming with it, mate.
You did your best, mate. I mean, really, there he is. Old or not, I mean.
Yeah, I will nosh your neck.
So you never know. That's what it is. She might have thought that. Is he polite? Even the vampires are polite there.
Uh-huh.
So she said, quote, I was really afraid because he had this lunatic look in his eye. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
So the police were called because she's screaming, and her parents called the police. When they get there, they talk to young Matthew, and when they confront him, he starts begging the officer to bite him. He sees one of the officers, thinks one of the two officers is also a vampire, and says, you just fucking bite me. Come on, bite me. And he's like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid, man? Right. This kid is whacked out. So what happens from that? He's put in a hospital and nothing happens. Nothing.
What?
They don't do shit. They're just like, get out and don't come back here and quit acting weird. And then they left.
Oh, he's sick, innit?
Yeah, that's it. Done. So November 24th, 2001. All right. This is right by his house. Within, you could throw a baseball to where it is, or I don't know, a cricket ball, I guess. You could throw it right over there.
Whatever you guys throw.
Whatever you guys throw. They're not into throwing much over there. I feel like they're more of a, they're less throwy and more kicky, I feel like, over there.
I mean, yeah, all that shit over there is just kickball. Yeah.
It's a lot of kicking. And, I mean, cricket and rugby and shit, you run around, you grab the ball and run it and kick. You throw it in cricket, but you don't even really throw it. You throw it into the ground. There's not a lot of...
There's a lot of underhand.
Yeah. There's not a lot of pitching over there, regardless of balls. Right by his house, pitching or catching or throwing or anything else. 2 minutes away lives a woman named Mabel Machon.
Okay.
Mabel's 90.
Jesus Christ.
90. She's described as, I love this description from a neighbor, a typical old lady living on her own. Just
doing
typical.
it all on her own still.
Typical, yeah. She hasn't been involved with her family. Her husband died 13 years earlier, and she just isn't involved with her family after that. And they said she leaves her home once in a while just to attend church, but she's not like, and that's like once every month maybe. She'll just go to church and come back, and that's it. No big deal. Well, apparently Matthew one night decided he needed to check on his theories of vampirism here. So she, Mabel is, or Lachon, I said Machon, I meant Lachon, Mabel, the M's got to me there. So Mabel Lachon, she is in her living room watching TV. He smashes his way through a window, Matthew, where she's sitting in a chair, broke into her home. He attacks her from behind and hits her a couple times, gets a kitchen knife that he apparently brought with him himself, not from her house, and stabs her 22 times.
An old lady.
A 90-year-old lady.
Why?
22 times. Well, it gets a little more clear of what he's doing here in a second. So 22 times he stabs her. She's dead at that moment. So, oh, Maron. Okay. What he does now is he slices her legs at her arteries so blood will drain out.
Sure.
And he drains the blood into a saucepan.
Yikes.
And he drinks it.
Into a saucepan.
He drained the blood into a saucepan and put it up to his mouth and drank it. Yes.
Wow.
Into a saucepan and drank this woman's blood. Still warm from the body. Okay. That's not enough, though. He then uses a kitchen knife to cut open her chest.
Yeah.
Cuts open her chest, removes her heart.
Yikes.
Wraps it in newspaper, puts it in the saucepan, then gets a silver platter, like an ornate silver platter that's holiday serving platter,
from
and places
the
saucepan. Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah, it was 400 years old. Absolutely,
right.
It was.
To the round table, drank off of it.
Robin Hood stole it from someone and gave it to her. That's what happened. Yeah, because she's that age. So, but he puts that on the saucepan on the silver platter and places that next to her. Okay, so heart wrapped in newspaper in the saucepan, like he's wrapping it up like a butcher. Like, there you go. Take that home for later. Put it on the grill. Places that next to her. Then he takes 2 brass fireplace pokers and puts them at her feet in the shape of a crucifix. Then he takes a candlestick and places it close to her on the floor and a red candle on the mantelpiece that he balanced on top of something else as well. Okay, and left it all like that. Weird. And just left. Okay,
left the heart in the newspaper.
Left it all there. Well, that's how he set that all up. Left her chest cut wide open enough to take a heart out,
like vampire bait.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, but he drank the blood in there. So,
And you put the cross there. You don't want to do that.
It's all very strange.
Vampire.
I was going to say, you're going to keep the vampires away with that.
Right.
Are you trying to attract them or keep them away? Are you luring them so they could then go, oh, no, fire poker cross.
Put a bunch of garlic around her, too?
Yeah. This poor fucking lady's 90 years old, for Christ's sake. She doesn't need this bullshit. No one does, obviously, needs to be murdered, but 90 years old?
What a terrible, what the fuck, man?
That's fucking awful.
Do you think he does this just because it's an easy target?
He said no one will notice. They're old. Who cares? That's his basic thing is like, he looks at her. She's a widow, doesn't talk to her family. She's an old lady sitting in a house by herself. Who the hell's going to give a shit or notice if she's murdered? That's obviously horrible. Like, as a human being, your thought should be like,
never fuck with her. Yeah.
There's a woman over there who's 90 and she's on her own. Maybe is there anything I can do for her? Can I cut her grass for her? Can I trim her hedges? Hey, we should see if we should bring her dinner once a week. Let's be nice. Not, hey, I bet I can kill her and fucking take her organs out and place them on her best silverware. That's crazy. Obviously.
Obviously nuts.
The fucking obvious thing of the day. So the next day is a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And a volunteer social worker from the Angsley Council has come by, basically Meals on Wheels, come to bring her lunch. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. The most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Yeah.
She doesn't answer the door, Mabel, obviously. So this woman who came to deliver her food notices a smashed rear window. At that point, she's looking around to see if maybe Mabel's in the back of the house. Where is she? And she sees a window, so she calls the police. Police open the door, and holy shit, as you can imagine, when you open the door to that, because it's right in the living room, right in the front door when you walk in. It's boom, looking you right in the face. The detective said it was totally macabre. Mabel was sitting in her usual chair and had been clearly watching television when she'd been stabbed from the back. She'd suffered multiple stab wounds. Good God. A pair of pokers had been placed in the position of a cross in the front of her chair, along with some candles. In front of her was a saucepan with something in newspaper inside. That's the heart. Yeah. It was only later in the forensic conditions of the mortuary that we realized it was Mabel's human heart inside that newspaper.
My God.
Holy fucking shit.
They didn't even know it until they got it back to the mortuary.
No, they didn't unwrap anything because it's
boy.
You get it in a
evidence,
clean forensic
Yeah.
environment, so nothing gets in there, and who knows what it is. Now they do. She was stabbed 22 times. Jagged cuts were found on the side of her neck, and also deep cuts on her legs and wrists. Anywhere where he knew a lot of blood came out, he was cutting. Looked like someone was trying to drain as much blood as possible from her body. A 9-inch gaping wound in her chest where her heart had been ripped out as well.
Holy shit, man!
This is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They said a quantity of blood was also found in the saucepan, and lip marks with blood were discovered on the side.
My God.
So they knew he drank it.
Yeah.
The lead detective said, at the time I'd been in the police force for 25 years and I had never experienced anything as horrific as that murder scene before, and neither had any of my colleagues. It's not something you ever forget.
Yeah, I'm
No,
sure.
this is like a fake horror movie thing.
Right.
You'd see this in an 80s horror movie and be like, whoa, that's a crazy one. That's beyond Freddy and Jason. That's fucking crazy. So the police, they have no clue who could have done this.
Yeah.
They do say immediately they announce that they're pursuing someone with, quote, considerable knowledge of physiology, gained perhaps through medical training or in the butchery trade, and also someone with the strength to get through a chest and open it up.
Right.
So they think they're looking. This is what I don't understand. When
They think they're looking for a doctor.
yeah, like when they talk about Jack the Ripper, there's someone.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, but he'd have to have been a this or a surgeon or a butcher." No, he wouldn't. He could just be a disgusting guy that read a lot of fucking books and knew where stuff was and went in after it. That's all.
That's
that
it.
could also be it. If you have an obsession where you want to cut people open, you'll probably read a book to see what's in there first.
Tend to, yeah.
Just a thought. So that's what they think they're looking for, though. They've consulted also experts, and I'm using hard air quotes on this one, experts in the field of the occult and witchcraft, and have also sought the help of psychological profilers. They have no idea. They said they're lost as fuck. More than 100 people in the immediate area gave DNA samples, and voluntarily, they basically said anyone who wants to come in and give a DNA sample, come and do it, which I doubt the murderer is going to come, hey, come here, take my DNA.
If they show up, just take their name.
A waste of lab space, yeah. If someone shows up and someone else is waiting in the car, write that person's name down.
Yes.
How about that? So the the detective supervisor of the North Wales Police, who was leading the investigation, said his officers were looking to trace the driver of a blue van seen by several people in the area. Obviously, this is shocking to a tiny little island community that nobody expects this shit, especially to an old lady. And after Mabel's death, from then on, just rampant reports of strange vans being spotted driving around the area. Yeah. People are nervous. And one guy, on purpose, this isn't an accident, I have to say this, because when you hear it, you'll go, what happened? He did this on purpose, set fire to himself, then jumped off the Menai Bridge.
Oh, my.
So he did that, and then a woman was found dead at a local cemetery, and so people were saying this is all connected. This is all some weird occult vampire shit. That guy was probably a vampire. He set himself on fire, drowned himself. You know how that goes with vampires. And then
that's generally how vampires commit suicide.
Usually. I think he read a different book than most. That's what he thought, and he didn't get it. So, and then the woman found in the cemetery, obviously that had to be,
it's where you kill people.
There's a wild cult running amok.
Yeah. Anything in the cemetery is clearly nutty shit.
It's nutty shit. Round up the local, the local weirdos. Who's wearing black?
Find them all.
That's what they're going to do. So strange vans, all this shit. People are completely freaked out, but police quickly rule out any link between the three people: Mabel, the cemetery lady, and fucking human fireball.
Fireman. Yeah.
All done there. So they said, this is the detective, it was scary for the community because, of course, they thought that whoever was responsible might offend again. Well, no shit. Yeah. They said that fear will remain until that person who's responsible is found. So 12 weeks go by while they're doing this investigation.
12 weeks.
12 weeks. Matthew lives like 3 houses away, by the way. It's right there. So they say that one of the detectives says, the advice I was given by the 2 psychologists who work with me on the case said that whoever was responsible was likely to kill again. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to get it however he wants to get it right, and he's going to find a weird little routine that he likes. The killer had left DNA at the scene on the saucepan, and a distinctive sneaker tread was found on the patio outside the broken back window. So they're going to Night Stalker his ass. It's an Avia model, whatever the shit. It's not.
Size 8, only sold in Arizona. Yeah.
Size 8.5, bought in Tucson. That's Richard Ramirez, everybody. So they had 100 local volunteers to be DNA tested. They had no idea what they're doing. They sent the detective on BBC's Crime Watch, the TV show airing all over the nation. So a flurry of calls came in, and all the calls, there's a lot of them had a similar theme.
Yeah.
Listen, don't know who did it, but if I had to guess who's weird around there, I'd look at this Matthew Hardman kid. He's fucking weird. He's super weird. So they go, well, I guess we'll look at this kid. When they look into his past, they read about the incident of him trying to force his neck into someone's mouth and screaming at cops to bite him. So like, all right, that's weird. That's strange. And he said he also read in the report that he was telling the cops to bite me so he could, quote, become a vampire and be immortal. Oh, boy. So he's like, I'd love to talk to this fucking weirdo. This is...
If nothing else, it'll be a fun afternoon.
It's going to be interesting anyway.
Yeah.
He's going to say some shit I never thought of, probably. They find out he's obsessed with vampires, your usual kind of a devil worship, dark arts, that sort of shit. You know, visited like weird websites. Just a kid who's into weird shit, except that he killed a woman and drank her blood. You know,
there's that.
Sort of different, a little different. So it was, then it was discovered that he delivered the newspaper to Mabel's home.
I was just going to say he probably delivered the newspaper that he used to wrap her in.
Yep, I'm sure he did. They said that he was working he said that he was working at a hotel that night because he was about a semester. This is January. He's a semester into his art school and he's working at night at a hotel. But he wasn't at work, they found out. He was lying about his alibi. Then the DNA at the murder scene matched that of blood found on a knife at Matthew's house in his room. So he's got a knife in his room with Mabel's blood on it. That's not good here at all.
There's only one way that happens.
That's, well, not according to his mom, actually. We have one of the craziest statements we've ever had on this fucking show.
I can't wait to hear how she explains that.
It's amazing. It's wild. You can twist, if you believe something, you can twist any fact to make it so. You really can. And this is proof of this shit later on. So they arrest him, obviously, and he says he never really denies it at all. No. He just says that but he won't literally give in at first. He just says that when it happened, he was smoking weed, so he doesn't know. You know.
Yeah.
You just blank out and fucking take a woman's heart out and drink her blood when you get high. You know how it goes.
That's one way of saying what weed does to you. I've literally never had a thirst for elderly blood.
For blood?
No.
Blood.
I mean,
I get cotton mouth. Don't get me wrong.
Thirst, that's
I get cotton mouth, but
only one way to solve it. 90-year-old blood.
90-year-old blood. I'm going to get that right now. So they search his room. He searched they said he had looked on the internet for vampire websites. I don't know what the fuck that means. Websites about vampires.
Bestgore.com, shit like that.
He read a magazine which featured an article on how to conduct a black mass. Well, who cares? That's not what he did. He fucking drank a woman's blood. Let's concentrate on that part. Who gives a shit what he's reading? So during the search, they recover his shoes, which matched the footmarks at the scene, and the pocket of a coat hanging on the door of his bedroom. Inside, they found a knife stained with Mabel's blood. So
that's not good.
He's pretty fucked here. He's not good at hiding evidence. You know, that's the thing when you're a vampire. You can just fly away, and you don't really have to deal with the aftermath of this shit. But when you're a 17-year-old with a paper route, It's different. You have to.
The bummer about being a vampire, if this did turn him, is that now he's immortal and life in prison is so much longer.
That would be so much longer. But I think a bat can fit out through those little bars, so
If you
it's
can,
possible.
yeah, if you could figure it, you're out. Yeah.
So they said they were shocked that he was so young when they talked to him, and also that he was very calm when they arrested him. They arrest him, and he's just dead calm. The detective said there was no panic, no objection to being arrested, and he was perfectly happy to be interviewed. He freely admitted that he searched a lot of websites looking at forensic issues and vampirism. In, quote, in fact, he was quite happy to talk about anything except the killing of Mabel, which he denied. So they were really freaked out by that. They said his reaction to the charge amazed everyone. They said, he'd been arrested on suspicion of murder, questioned closely about the murder, and charged, and he was just like, just a big shoulder shrug.
Okay.
Not really a big deal. He's interviewed a shitload. He's interviewed his lawyers there. There's a social worker there. He's interviewed 16 times by 2 police officers.
Wow.
They questioned him closely about his movements on that weekend where Mabel was murdered. He was also asked about his interest in vampires and why he was found to have a 6-inch kitchen knife in his jacket pocket with the victim's blood on it.
It's a problem.
They asked him about his part-time work as a waiter and paperboy and the clothes he owns to try to put some blood in there. Total 11 hours of interviews and 167 pages over 16 different interviews.
Okay.
So it's a lot. One of the sergeants said of the interview, during the interview, he was cool, unfazed, and fairly laid back. He was not fazed by the questioning, even though we questioned him in a number of interviews over a 3-day period. Not only that, but he was charged with the murder. He showed absolutely no emotion. After we charged him with murder, we asked him if there was anything he wanted, anything we could get him. All he wanted was a Big Mac and fries and a milkshake. They make a blood shake. They still got the blood. Is it? Oh no, it's not St. Patrick's Day anymore. They don't have the blood shake anymore. Never mind. It's not the.
That's the choice.
That's what he wants: Big Mac fries and a milkshake.
Okay.
He said we took him to a cell and he was offering us some of his fries. He said,
You want some of these?
Yeah.
They're going to be cold.
All right. He said it's something that really brings it home to you how a 17-year-old boy could be so cool. Not one bit of emotion was forthcoming. At no stage in the interview did he even cry, as he's being yelled at. The only time he showed emotion when he was asked about his Levi shoes, the prints of which were found at the murder scene. They said, I was the officer tasked to investigate the shoe prints found at the scene. I was able to tell Matthew Hardman that the shoes were unique, sold only by 4 outlets in the whole country.
Holy shit.
He got Ramirez, man.
Yeah.
Pick murderers. Pick a common sneaker, okay? If you're out there,
J's.
Nike Dunks, there you go. They're all over. Everyone's there. Sell them in every fucking store in the universe. There you go. Done. Set. So 4 fucking shoes, they said. So one of those was the Burton's chain, and Matthew had told us he bought the shoes a few months earlier at the Bangor branch. And not a lot of them came into the country. Only 22 pairs were sold at that store.
22!
22, and that's wild. So they said earlier in the interview, we were talking about the shoes. I noticed that Matthew was playing with his right eye. I asked him if there was anything that was a matter, and he said he'd be smoking, and a bit of the nicotine had gone into his eye, and it was starting to sting. What?
A bit of the smoke, not the nicotine.
But he's not smoking there. He was smoking earlier, and he has such
And it still hurts?
nicotine deposits on his finger that he touched his eye and made his eye sting.
Okay.
I don't understand that. So they claim that he's dyslexic and has the comprehension of a 12-year-old. So they said, but the police said that his replies didn't seem like anybody with any kind of difficulties other than maybe spelling and shit. They said many of his replies were monosyllabic, just yes and no. Others were more nuanced here. Told in the final interview that the DNA profile taken from him matched blood found within the blood of Mabel there. He was asked what he had to say about it. What of it? And Hardman said, nothing. They said, what is the explanation for this sample that matches your characteristics? And he said, I don't have an answer. I can't explain it.
Nothing.
And I don't know. I have no reasonable explanation. He has nothing. So they were like, okay. So a family friend, this is a reaction from people around, because a 17-year-old who does this, there's got to be a lot of people freaked out.
Right.
A family friend said, quote, "He wasn't a weirdo. He didn't wear black, and neither was he a village bad lad." So he wasn't a goth, and he wasn't like a kid that ran around breaking car windows or anything. He was just a normal kid who wore jeans and trainers. That's what makes this all the more shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, he was a sheep in a vampire in sheep's clothes.
Vampire in teenage clothing.
Yeah. One friend recalled an incident when he missed the bus and he'd been offered a ride by Matthew. He said, "At the time I was in his house, I didn't see anything strange to make me believe that he did it." So he's like, he didn't do it. After he's arrested, they also focus on his art portfolio. Friends say it was full of morbid and depressing images, particularly death, blood, and knives.
Yeah.
Which, it's art, though. You know, who knows?
It's how you interpret it.
Yeah. He said, "I don't think anyone thought much of it before this happened, but then obviously as more evidence came out and looking back now, but it's still hard to believe because he's just a local lad." He's just a local lad. So why did he do this, obviously?
Let's find out.
A psychiatrist named Emma Kenny said that this killing came from a desire to fit in.
Uh-huh.
With who? Vampires? The fuck are you talking about? Cutting an old lady's
right.
Yeah, cutting an old lady's heart out is going to make you a social outcast, I would think. That's not the coolest thing to tell your friends that you did.
Yeah, who's he going to tell that now they want to hang out with him?
That's what where? In prison? This psychiatrist said kids have got this desire to always fit in, but also to be somebody of some standing. A murderer, though? She goes on to say, if you don't really feel that you were ever going to get anywhere or you're ever going to succeed, connecting with something that makes you feel like you stand out, even if it's macabre and black and wrong, is attractive. Then you can find websites and platforms that say, yes, you are special, and you can almost start to live in a different reality. We see this all over the place. It's just fucking people do that everywhere. I mean, Jesus Christ. Never mind. We won't get into it, but you know what the fuck we're talking about out there in the world. Just people are nuts. You've seen people that are in a different reality now. Right. And you can find any reality you want on the internet. It's
crazy.
That's what's, I don't think that was in mind when they came up with it.
But if it doesn't exist, you can create it, and that's even worse.
Yeah, and you can find people who will feed into it. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So they go on to say, Hardman is a cold-blooded killer, and what he did was absolutely terrifying. But the delusions he had are so horrific that you have to ask what's going on in his life that made him feel so invisible that he wanted to make himself feel visible in such a distressing and tragic way. Mm-hmm. I don't know if visible is really the thing. A former prison psychiatrist, a psychiatric nurse, said that he was talking to this kid a lot in jail. Mm-hmm. This is the guy who worked in the admissions office and talked to him all the time. And he said he worked for 38 years as a mental health nurse. Said shortly after arrival, I referred him to meet a psychiatrist who concluded he had no mental issues, which I found mind-boggling, to be honest.
It just seems like he does.
He said he was never able to forget when he first walked into the office. He said, I was just sat in my little office, and this 17-year-old kid, about 5'10", blonde hair, blue eyes, walks in. He said he was a handsome young lad, blonde hair, blue eyes, well-dressed, well-spoken, very polite. I knew what he was accused of and thought if my daughter had brought him home, I'd think, what a nice lad. Until he begs you to bite his neck. Yeah. Until he starts yelling at you, bite my fucking neck, while he's standing on your kitchen table, kicking your pork chops off.
This is a prison psychiatrist who cannot get over how handsome this kid is.
He's a sexy, at one point I said, oh, I dropped my paper. Would you pick it up, please? Hey, but the rump, just it was spectacular. That's all I'll say.
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Oh, right. That's what I'm talking about.
Six-pack,
yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. So he said that he walked in and he said, hello, sir, are you the doctor? And the guy said, I am the psychiatric nurse. How do you feel? And quote, and he replied with a huge grin on his face and said, this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. Holy shit.
You asshole.
The guy said, if you had said to me when I was 17 years old, we are charging you with murder and taking you to a high security prison, I would have been in floods of tears asking for my mum, but not Hardman. This boy had disemboweled an old lady, wrapped her heart in old newspapers, and drank her blood under the mistaken impression that this would make him a vampire and he would live forever. He was mistaken. Well, no shit. You know what? We don't know that yet.
We don't.
Check back in 100 years if he's still alive. Maybe he was right. We don't know.
Did he get the death penalty? Did you do it with a fucking stake through the heart?
Right, there you go. Unless that's what's going to happen, we don't know. He could pop up at any time. So they said also the way he did his time he said there's different types of prisoners, some who would play tough and defiant, others that would be like in emotional denial. And he said you would get those who said, I've got life and I don't care, and others who'd be saying, I didn't mean to do it, the voices told me to it, and then those in denial. Hardman never admitted his guilt, and even despite the compelling evidence, denied ever being in Mabel's home, even.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's it. So he said that he went to his cell, and he said he felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
He was sorry for him. At one point, Matthew said, do you think I'm guilty? And the psychiatric nurse said, I said to him, I know you're guilty. Everyone knows. He was curled up crying. He goes, do you think I'm guilty? Of course I do. Everyone does, you dumb shit. Obviously. DNA, stupid.
Who are you trying to snow? You had the murder weapon in your pocket.
DNA. Well, sorry, you're A-N-D. There you go. Either way. You're fucked is what I'm saying. F-U-C-K, however you whatever letters you want to arrange that.
K-C-U-F, that's you.
You're shit out of luck, homie. S-O-L, there's another one we can put on there. You're fucked, dude. So he said through 16 hours of interview, he at no time offered any sympathy, any concern about Mabel Lachon and what happened to her. When asked if he believed Hardman knew of his own guilt, this guy said he could be in denial, but the evidence was so overwhelming, I don't think there's any doubt. So July 2002 is the trial. Now, you would imagine that immediately, just based on this scene, if you're his lawyer, you go, we're fucking pleading insanity because... Yeah. That shit's crazy.
To Australia.
Yeah, that shit is crazy, is what it would be. Like, you can't look at that scene and go, "What's maniac, fucking psychopath, crazy shit did that?" So, but they never bring up insanity at all. Nothing. Is that
something that's in England or in
no?
UK,
you can do insanity. Absolutely, they just never do. So the jury never has that to consider.
Okay,
it's a 3-week trial because there's a lot of physical evidence and shit like that. And they said, he was the paper boy. Now he's fascinated with vampires. The prosecutor said about his interest in vampires, quote, he believed they existed, believed they drank human blood, and believed most importantly that they could achieve immortality. The killer had become obsessed with 2 questions. How do I become a vampire? And how do I become immortal? He decided he needed to carry it out with this grotesque killing in order to provide a sacrifice.
What the fuck, man?
Holy shit. So... it doesn't matter what the prosecutor said. He could have gone up there and just went, DNA on the knife in his pocket in his room. Bye, everybody. Footprints. Peace.
I gotta run.
Yeah, mic drop. I'm going to go out to fucking dinner. Let this guy say whatever he wants. I'll be back later for when you say he's guilty. Thanks.
Right. Refute this for the next however long. I'll be back.
Don't care. I'll be back. I don't need to see this shit. I'm not going to object to shit. Get around that, bitch. I don't care. I don't care what the fuck you put forward. You're screwed.
I'm not going to object to anything anyway.
I won't anyway.
For tea. See you around.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. All right. And he just leaves. That's that. So he is found guilty of murder, obviously, here. So sentencing comes around. Now, the original "You, Sir, May Fuck Off" stemmed from Gavin Grant, who's an English soccer player, who murdered someone, and the judge read him the fucking riot act, and then I was like, wow, that's a real "you sir may," "you sir may fuck off," real English. The English judges really throw down, and this guy is no exception. His name...
Well, they still do it in fucking wigs, which is awesome.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's fucking cool. His name is Justice Richards. Judge Justice Richards. I'm like, oh, yes. He says... and I quote, You have been convicted by the jury on the strength of the most compelling evidence. The horrific nature of this murder was plain to all. It was a vicious and sustained attack on a vulnerable old lady in her own home, aggravated by the mutilation of her body after she had been killed. It was planned and carefully calculated. Why you should have acted in this way is difficult to comprehend, but I am drawn to the conclusion that vampirism had indeed become a near obsession with you, that you really did believe that this myth may be true, that you did think that you would achieve immortality by the drinking of another person's blood, and that you found this irresistible attraction. It may well seem incredible, but my judgment is that's where the evidence leads. One might hope for a psychological explanation for your behavior, but none is offered. I must proceed on the basis that you are of sound mind, and I must look for an explanation in your behavior elsewhere. You have specific learning difficulties, but this can't account for it. I can make an allowance for a degree of confused thinking and immaturity for some childish fantasizing, but the fact remains, this was an act of great wickedness, and one that you have not faced up to, and one for which you have not shown any remorse. You hoped for immortality, but all you have achieved is the brutal ending of another person's life and the bringing of a life sentence upon yourself. You, sir, may fuck off. Life in prison for you.
Life
all
forever,
right?
right?
All right. And he just said, all right. And then,
all right. Real life, right?
Nope, he has to serve a minimum of 12 years.
What
the fuck is that? That's what the judge said, a minimum of 12 years up to life. That's how it works. That's what they do. So
12 to life.
12 to life. So the German girl who he wanted to bite was there. She saw it.
Really?
She ran out of the courtroom when he got sentenced crying. So I don't know if she liked him or if she was just freaked out by the whole thing or what. But
or felt lucky to be alive.
That's probably it, yeah. His mother leaned over the balcony and said, I love you, son. And detective afterwards said if we hadn't discovered the evidence, arrested and subsequently convicted him, he could have gone on to commit further horrendous crimes in Anglesey and elsewhere, or Anglesey and elsewhere. The prison shrink said, having spent so much time with him, I'm convinced he was a paranoid schizophrenic. I'm also in no doubt he was guilty. Evidence against him was overwhelming, and though he always denied it, I don't think there's any way he didn't do it. He was a young man who didn't show any emotion. In fact, the only time he did was on the day he was sentenced. He asked me if I thought he was guilty, and I said I did and everyone did. He curled up in a fetal position and started crying. No one believes in him, except his family. And this is fucking amazing. His relatives are hoping an appeal will address the, quote, unanswered questions in the murder case. Like what? What unanswered questions are there?
We've got a pretty good answer.
We got the murder weapon. We got DNA. We got footprints. We got a connection between them.
The only unanswered question is, Ma, how'd you let this happen?
No shit. Maybe that's what it is she doesn't want to admit it or the family doesn't. So the sister, the older sister, Danielle Stevenson is her name, said that the family sympathized with the family and friends of Mabel, obviously, but they believe that the wrong person is behind bars and that the real killer is still walking the streets of Llanfair, probably arm in arm with Nicole Simpson's killer. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of it. Arm in arm. They're golfing together. It's a twosome. Yeah. So his sister said that her brother was a gentle, generous boy who adored his grandparents, who are also elderly, in case you didn't know.
She invoked elderly people.
He likes. She didn't say that. I'm saying that. That's why she said he adores his grandparents. Wink, wink. Doesn't kill them and drink their old blood.
She invoked elderly people.
Yeah.
How could she do that?
And was so wonderful with her own children. She told the Daily Post, I feel huge sorrow for Mrs. Laishan's family and friends, but I don't believe that the person who took her life has been brought to justice and her killer is still walking the streets and could murder again.
Holy shit.
She wouldn't give full details of the alleged inconsistencies, obviously. She wouldn't lay out the plan here. But she said they're the subject of the latest appeal. She said, I hope we find the person or persons responsible for this horrific crime, as there is a young man in prison who's innocent. Justice has not been done. She said the most damning aspect of the evidence against Matthew at the trial is the fact that traces of Mabel's DNA were on the knife. Yeah, that's a good one. That's in his pocket. You just said an insurmountable piece of evidence that could only be the murderer. And then, do you just stop at that point and go, I'm not helping my case. I'm going to stop talking. Instead, she says, continuing the sentence, wow, to be honest, I can't completely explain that except to say that Matthew delivered her newspaper for 3 years. I'm not a forensics expert. No shit. We know that, sweetheart. Trust me. That's not to be debated.
Keep going, sugar.
But surely it's possible for minute amounts of DNA to innocently transfer from one person to another.
What?
The only place the DNA was on the bloody knife in his pocket, though.
It's not like...
What are you talking about? 2 years ago, he went to collect for the paper, and now he's got her DNA on a bloody knife in his pocket? What the fuck are you talking about?
There's an innocent transmission of it.
Wow, that is shocking.
Watch fucking Dateline or anything for 5 minutes and then never speak about this again.
Wow. She goes on to say, she didn't run away embarrassed at that point. Some people will think I'm being naive and simply refusing to accept the truth. Yeah, all of us.
Or
just like him. Yes, everybody. We all do. But I can't and won't believe that the gentle, generous boy who adored his grandparents could grow up into a sadistic, murderous young man. He even cried when he was made to look at photos of the crime scene, not because he felt remorse, as some people assumed, but because he was shocked by the images he saw. I was certain the jury would find the charges ridiculous and acquit him. What are you fucking... Wow. Holy shit. And the other evidence, she said, focused on people she claimed the police should have investigated more thoroughly. Uh-huh. She said there was a man who walked past the victim's home a few weeks before the crime and was actually saying how he wanted to do Mrs. Lation. And that means kill over there. That doesn't mean fuck over here like it is over here. There was a woman who told the police a person had come forward to her and admitted carrying out the crime, but the police dismissed it. Unless they admitted to putting a DNA blood-soaked knife in fucking dude's pocket, it's stupid. Evidence.
It doesn't matter.
There are a lot of unanswered questions and loopholes within this case, and justice has not been done. She said she's been visiting Matthew regularly. She said he's studying for his GCSEs. I don't know what that is. And following courses in art, English, and math. He's determined to get through his sentence, and we are supporting him 100%. I live closest to the prison and visit every 3 weeks or so. Mom and my sisters can't visit often, but they try and visit as often as they can. He said, I've told the children that their Uncle Matthew is in jail now because someone said he did something bad, but he didn't do it.
Oh, my God. Stop lying to your children.
Jesus. If just one tiny part of me suspected he was capable of murder, I wouldn't let them anywhere near him. Last October on Matthew's birthday, they were so excited they could hardly wait to see him. She said, it's been an incredible shock to us all. Sometimes I wonder if this really happened because it's unbelievable.
Holy shit.
I wonder if you are that stupid. That's unbelievable.
I wonder why you're such in denial and why you are so sick.
Fucking insane. There was a documentary on a British show that does it's Murder by the Sea. And it was season 1, episode 3 they did on that. That was in 2018. Sure, it was a bang-up job. Either way, that, everybody, is Llanfair, Wales, United Kingdom. Very careful to not call it England because...
The old PG.
The English are like, those fucking people aren't English, and the Welsh are like, we're not fucking English. So neither of them want them to be English, so let's not call them English. They are British, though.
Llanfair, PG, Welsh, where everything is anything
confusing
but PG. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that was X-rated. That should be Llanfair XXX is what this shit should be called, this town.
My God.
Holy shit, if you like that show, tell the world about it. Get on whatever app you're listening on. Give a review. 5 stars helps. It helps drive us up the charts. Thank you so much for doing that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can get tickets November the 28th on sale for 2023 live shows. You have all the dates at the top of the show. Yep. Can't wait for that. Hit those up. Patreon.com/crime and sports. $5 or more a month gets you all the bonus shit. Huge back catalog. 2 new ones every other week. This week, the accusations of gross stuff against Ben Roethlisberger for crime and sports, and for small town murder, the prisoner dating game. Jimmie's going to find some love some caged love, some caged heat this week. We're going to do that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you get a shout out at the end of the main show. Want to follow us on social media? Very easy to do that. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com. Links are there for everything. Holy shit. Thank you so much, everybody. Keep joining us. Keep coming back. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Invite me. Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
It takes one guy out there to say, who's that Kyle who thinks he can just get on a microphone on a podcast and start publicizing this?
From iHeart Podcasts and Tenderfoot TV comes a new true crime podcast, Crook County.
I got recruited into the mob when I was 17 years old.
Meet Kenny, an enforcer for the legendary Chicago outfit.
And that was my mission, to snuff the life out of this guy.
He lived a secret double life as a firefighter paramedic for the Chicago Fire Department.
I had a wife and I had 2 children. Nobody knew anything.
People are dying. Is he doing this every night?
Torn between 2 worlds.
I'm covering up murders that these cops are doing.
He was a freaking crazy man.
We don't know who he is, really.
He is my father, and I had no idea about any of this until now. Welcome to Crook County. Available now. Listen for free on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.